Welcome to another episode of The Room Podcast, brought to you by NewEnglandMMA.org. Please follow, share, and enjoy the show, starting right now. Joining me in The Room Podcast to talk about his third trip to the Cage Titans cage, happening this Saturday night at Cage Titans 60, is Brendon Motorboats. What's up, my friend?
Not much, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's fight week, bro. You look pretty happy, man. Usually, fighters are really mad at this point. How's things going? How's things going fight week?
Not bad. I'm all over the place. I just haven't had a second to. It's the first chance I've had to sit down today, so I think that's probably why I'm happy. But I'm miserably hungry and all that. But otherwise, I'm pretty good. But I've been on the soccer field and then in the office of my charity organization that I work for, all day. So I've been up against it.
Well, my man, third trip to the cage. Started your career at a catch weight of, I think, 160, then fought at 155. Now you're stepping in as a featherweight, I do believe. Is that correct?
I am, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Unfortunately, my last fight at 55, my opponent didn't exactly feel like making 55, but he decided to do 66. But it is what it is. They force-fed me at the weigh-ins to get a little bit closer to his weight. But no, 45, like if I was a real fighter, like I say that all the time, I'd be a 45er for sure. I definitely would, be cutting down to that. But just what's the point when you're 46 and you're just fighting amateurs or whatever? So, but we'll do it for this one. We'll be okay.
Well, how you feeling, man, at that 145-pound mark there, bro? Well, you're not there yet. It's fight. You got to cut to it, but.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I feel super skinny now. It's why I look so like a friggin' skeleton, and I shave too, which makes it even worse. I shouldn't have done that. But I feel okay. It's a little lethargic or whatever, but it's not too bad. The real issue was that the fight wasn't really confirmed until about 3.5 weeks ago, so I wasn't really ready to oh yeah, sure, 45, whatever. So if I had known maybe 6-8 weeks, it'd be a piece of cake, but I had to kind of rush it a little bit.
Well, third time around, my friend. Your last time in there was over a year, I think, like 13 months ago, maybe
Yep.
June 2022. When you fought that dude that came in a few pounds heavy there. Your second finish in the cage, bro. And now it's over a year later. What brings you back to the cage? Have you retired once or twice, or that it wasn't official yet?
Yeah, no, my first one was always going to be the only one, but then, as you know, the initial opponent fell through, so I was like, oh man, I still got to fight that guy. So that's why I did two. I definitely wasn't doing any more than that, but last year I found out my very good friend, actually, that I've known for years, coached his daughter for 10 years. I coached his son a little bit. Super, super nice guy, incredibly supportive of me and my family. I found out he was real sick with cancer, so I was trying to come up with ways to just do something nice for him. And I decided to look, this is something I love doing. It's a good way to potentially, make a few extra bucks that I can give to him. So I said, in his honor, I'm going to do this. He's obviously fighting a much tougher fight than I am. So I said, look, I'll go get punched in the head a few times, sell some T-shirts, sell some tickets, raise some money for him. Now, it's not going to be life-changing money. It's not like I'm, going to be giving the guy, thousands upon thousands of dollars from fighting the Cage Titans, but more just to show him, how many people really care about him and come out to support him and stuff like that. And, hopefully it will help him out. He's got 4 kids and hasn't worked in well over a year, 3 kids in college. So, he definitely deserves it. He's been a great guy to me for the last 15 years. So,
well, great, great heart of yours doing that, my man, and getting your fill back in the cage, beating people up. Like I said, you had a couple of finishes in your first couple of fights there. You had a sub and a TKO. Which one felt better to you? I mean, they were both pretty quick, but which one felt better in there for you?
They were both good. And the TKO always feels a little bit. By the way, it should have been a KO, because if you watch on punch 11, that dude goes out, and then on punch 13, he wakes up. But anyway, that always feels better, right? Even the crowd, the crowd that doesn't understand grappling too, they prefer the big knockouts and the big punches and stuff. So, ground and pound TKO is always going to feel a little bit better. But I'll take a sub too, whatever it is. Maybe this time we'll get a standing KO. See how that goes.
Well, my friend, you're taking on another New Yorker. I think this is the third New Yorker that you have fought. It's been a struggle to get you matchups. Looking at Tapology, I mean, a lot of fights fall through. And behind the scenes, I know you've been juggling matchups your past 3 fights. So with this one, man, has anything changed? Has this been a juggling of opponents, or you said you knew about this about 3 weeks ago? Was that when they finally found somebody, or were other names falling through, and they finally got this one?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination. So I was meant to fight in January, and we thought that was going to go through. It's a kid who has actually fought twice since then at NEF, but his coach said he didn't feel like he was ready or whatever, which I respect. I get it was going to be the kid's first fight, and they weren't sure if he was ready. So I totally understand that. So that fell through. And then maybe it was going to happen in March with a different guy, but that didn't happen. The guy was taking some time off. So, I was just kind of like, all right, whatever. It might not happen. But then when this card came around, the summer is the best time for me just because I start to slow down a little bit work-wise. Once the fall gets here, it's crazy. But so it's all right. Let me try and get this one in July because it might be my last chance to do it. So I messaged, I'm going to say conservatively, 50 coaches and fighters throughout the Northeast, like all the way down to Pennsylvania, Maryland, up as far north as Maine, whatever. Some get back to me, some never respond. And then there's a couple conversations back and forth, but it never really happened. And then this kid, Naquan, I'll give him credit. He actually seems like he's like a character, it seems, in his fights and at the weigh-ins, but all my interaction with him has been very pleasant and polite, been super nice guy, trying to say, hey, let's raise some money for your friend, all that stuff. So I saw him actually at a weigh-in, and he was kind of doing his thing, whatever. Like, oh, this guy's kind of entertaining, like, yeah, silly, could drum up some interest in the fight. So I said, let me message him real quick. Message him, and he got back to me. He said, yeah, sure, let's do it. Sounds like a great cause and all that stuff. So that's kind of how it happened. And then actually I guess his coach can't make it. So one of the guys that I fought, I guess they just know each other from, they don't train together or anything, but I guess they know each other from the local scene down in New York. So he's coming up to actually help corner him or something like that. So I'm sure he'll give him plenty of tips and whatnot and how to get submitted in the first round.
Yeah. Now how to not get finished. Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, that's cool. He's coming in. I was watching Table Titans. They had the breakdown of the card coming up last night at Table Titans. And they mentioned your fight, and they mentioned, Naquan, and they mentioned that he had a couple of wins. He has like some boxing experience too. Doesn't have MMA wins. He's 0-2, but as far as they said, his boxing career, he's got a couple of wins there. So he's got some striking in him, man. So, man, what are you looking forward to this fight? And is that true? Does he have some boxing experience?
Yeah, that's what I'm told. I haven't seen any of the fights, his boxing fights, but yeah, I'm told he's 3-0 in boxing. Which means I'm assuming he can strike a little bit. I haven't really, his MMA fights one was pretty quick, then the other one was on the ground a lot, so it's kind of hard to tell. But listen, I have told you, I've told everyone a million times, I'm not good at anything, right? Striking sucks, my wrestling's terrible, and all that. So I'll do whatever. Like I could lose just as well as win pretty much anywhere. So I'm happy to stand. I'll trade punches with them. It is what it is. If you get hit, you get hit. You get knocked out, you get knocked out. That's fine. I am, however, if we do end up standing most of the fight and I win, I am going to remind Polvert that he said I was in trouble if it was a stand-up fight. So I've taken those receipts, Mike. I'm going to keep them. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, but and I kid, obviously. I love Mike. But so I don't care. Listen, if we want to, I'm going to do whatever Bill tells me to do, right? Whatever Bill Mahoney's game plan is, that's what I'm going to do, because I know damn well that if I don't, he's going to call me stupid and say, what the hell are you doing? So I'm going to listen to Bill.
Well, I know your gym always has a bunch of fighters on, Cage Titans cards, some main events, some fighting for titles. You're on this card. Is there other training partners also on this card with you?
Yeah, just one. Jack Noon is fighting a couple fights before me. He's early on the card, too. He was supposed to fight at NEF 2 weeks ago, and then his opponent just went missing. He said like he has a stomach ache or something like that and didn't go to weigh-ins and whatnot. So Jack had sort of already had this opponent potentially lined up if he had come out of that fight unscathed. So I think as soon as that happened, they said, all right, boom, let's get this done. And then he's fighting another kid who's fought at NEF and Combat Zone and a couple other places. I think he's 0-4, but I've watched his fights. He's a tough dude. Like he hasn't fought any bums either. So it's not, I of course like Jack to win the fight, but it's not like the 0-4 guy. He's not a walkover, a pushover for sure.
Excellent. Well, as far as leaving out the weight, dropping down the weight, as far as training camps and a year into your career here, what has changed as far as, you say you're very humble as far as your skill set and shit. You got to be getting better. I know you're up there in age and you're not as quick as the young guys, but you got to be improving in technique and stuff like that. Like, what have you like? What have been some of the positives in your fighting that you know have excelled since you know that first fight in there?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely better than I was, but it's, it's not hard to improve from hot garbage, right? So I, uh, I have, I'm definitely better for sure. Just with the experience and then with the practice, whatever. The trouble for me is just the consistency of like, so my soccer coaching schedule is nuts, right? So certain times of the year I'll be in consistently for 2 months at a time, but then it's like, boom, 3 months, I'm like here one day, 2 days, whatever. So, but no, I've worked on it all. I mean, Bill and Danielle obviously helped me a ton with, all the grappling stuff, and, in MMA overall. Mike Donnell has been awesome. Ryan White too, helping with, with the stand up and the kickboxing and stuff. And to be perfectly honest with you, people always think I'm kidding when I say this. I spar with my son, and he's so effing good now that it's like I learned from him. Like his feints, everything he does, like his little tricks and all these things. Kid's 13 years old, but he's my height now, and he's a problem. So just working with him, honestly, and trying to get rounds in with him, and he frequently beats me up. But I mean, he's probably better than the dude I'm fighting. So.
Good. That was going to be my next question about your son, because I know he's growing. I see him on Facebook, and you're showing him training and stuff like that. My guy.
He would have beaten both of the guys I fought.
As far as him, I mean, they have the smokers around the area and stuff like that, exhibitions. Is that something that he's looking forward to? Is that something that's going to be in the near future, or you keeping him?
I mean, we would never make him, right? I tell him all the time it's up to him. But like I said, I mean, he's 13. He actually turns 14 the night of the fight this Saturday. So he's got, he's not even legally allowed to do, much. I mean, he can do straight boxing. They let kids do that, but kickboxing, MMA, they don't really let him do it. Obviously, he goes to, jiu-jitsu and grappling tournaments and all that. But he says right now he's into it. He wants to fight. He really wants to fight. He goes to the events and tells me the guys he thinks he can beat. That's what kids do, right? Oh, God, I beat this guy. And sometimes he's right, and sometimes he's a delusional teenager. But he definitely wants to do it. But you know what it's like. I mean, he's 13. When he's 16, he might have a girlfriend in the car and not want to do any of this stuff anymore. But we support him no matter what. We'll never make him fight. We will never tell him he has to fight. I never make him go to the gym if he's tired or he plays a ton of baseball too. So, when he's got that going on, we just, if we force him, he's just going to revolt and hate it. And, just like every teenager hates their parents. So we let him kind of make his own decisions. And his little brother trains as well, but he's not like the fighter type. He doesn't have that mentality. He's a very good little grappler, but, doesn't, he has no interest in fighting whatsoever, which is fine. He's my soccer guy with me. So, and my daughter just dances, so she's not gonna be a fighter either.
Nice.
Well, she does some modeling too, so she doesn't look
excellent.
like a dad.
Well, they're all athletic, and that's a great thing, man. They'll keep you on your toes, man. That's why you look great for the age, bro. Man, as far as this third time going in there, you've had a lot of support. Your previous couple of fights, you bring a lot of people there. You have a lot of sponsors. You help a lot of people. You mentioned the charity work. What are you expecting as far as this card? A turnout for you. There's not huge names like title fights happening here as far as Giannetti headlining, but it's a good card, a really, really good card. What are you expecting as far as a turnout? Because you always bring it as far as support.
Yeah, it should be good. In this card, I don't know that it had a lot of buzz going in, but I mean, you look at it too. You got two guys just coming out of the UFC, right? And Jay and Don. So that, and Brody McDougal's one of my favorite amateurs, in New England. The kid's an animal, and he's also like one of the nicest human beings in the world. So I know you talked to him yesterday, the day before, or whatever. But just my son and I visited Nostos, and Brody just comes out and randomly gives my kid a shirt. You know what I mean? So and he's a super exciting fighter. So I'm looking forward to that. But support's good. It's not. I didn't sell as many tickets as I did for my first fight. It's never going to be right. Your first supposedly one and only fight. It's always going to be more. But summer vacations and these two ridiculous concerts that are going on sort of lower the ticket sales a little bit. But we're still doing pretty well though. It's not going to be 200 like the first one, but we'll have some pretty good numbers there. And our gym always brings a lot of people too. So even people that didn't get their tickets from me got them from Jack. So we'll have some pretty good support in there.
Excellent, my man. Well, all right. I think I talked to you on Messenger, buddies with the New England MMA guys there. But third retirement, second retirement. What's going on after this? Is this going to be like a once a year charity event for you fighting, or what's
So
going on with you?
I said this before, and I do believe genuinely that this is the last one, but I don't want to be like the Brett Favre, right? He's like, I'm done, I'm not done, I'm not, and whatever. So going back and forth. But I said this, the one thing that could get me back in there is I mentioned my son, right? So he turns 14 this weekend, which means in 4 years, when he turns 18, he's allowed to fight. I'll be 50. So if we can get on the same card when he debuts, I will genuinely consider making a 50-year-old comeback, just because I think it would be one of the coolest things ever. To be like, all right, my son made his debut and my old ass got in there, win or lose, and we fought on the same card. So I think that'd be pretty cool to do that. But otherwise, yeah, and my college soccer stuff's starting to pick up too. It's just, you have to commit to this, right? And I was thinking about it this morning, and I'm leaving the house and trying to do a billion things at once. I'm like, how do these guys do this 3, 4, 5 times a year? I honestly don't know. And of course, my life's different, right? I'm not 25 and single and whatever else. I've got a wife and 3 kids and multiple jobs and all that. But just the grind of it, I don't know, I'm not trying to put myself through that again.
Yeah. Well, my man, you'll definitely be training and staying in shape, up until you get that fight on the same card with your son there, man. So
I'll never stop training.
No,
I got to do that to stay sane.
And
for sure.
and you're in a busy camp and gym that have fighters fighting every other week, so you're always helping them out too. So, with that said, my man, I know you're fighting for that cause, which you spoke of. You got a ton of sponsors helping you out with this. Shout out everything you want to shout out as far as, fight week, sponsors, social media, how to get tickets, shirts, all that stuff. And I'll let you get back to your fight week, getting ready for this fight on Saturday.
I'm going back to work, Steve. I'm going to go train some more kids. Get back on the soccer field sweating and then go to the gym and sweat myself. No, I want to thank everyone. Obviously, I'm doing this for John Taradash. John, like I said, is one of the coolest guys, nicest guys ever. John donates money to Northeastern Women's Soccer every year just because I coach there. His kid doesn't even play there. His kid went to a completely different college to play. That's the type of guy. He said, no, you coach my kid. You're so good to her. I'm giving that program money, which is like, he has no reason to do that whatsoever, right? So this guy deserves this for sure. All the sponsors that helped out. So John's sister, Tiger Tree and Landscaping down in Tiverton, were amazing. They actually hosted me, dropping off all my shirts to the people that bought them too. I'm gonna end up forgetting people, but let's see. Your Landlord was one of my sponsors. Rose Homes Realty, AccuTrust Mortgage, obviously New England MMA. Lars was great with that. My good buddy Patrick, Blunt Force Business is the name of his. The company that I'm sitting in the office for now, Shot for Life, is actually a cancer research organization. So their logo will be on the shirt too. I won't bore you with the details, but it's an amazing organization that raises close to $1 million a year for brain cancer research for the Mass General Cancer Center. So they'll be on there too. I'm definitely forgetting people, but Wordell and our Wordell Enterprises as well. So all amazing people, some of whom have relationships with John. Obviously, that's why they wanted to help out. But all the t-shirts sold out, which is great, which means, all the profits from that are going to him. If anyone wants to get tickets, I do still have tickets left. All the proceeds from that, everything that I brought in after my expenses all goes straight to John and his family. So, we were just going to hopefully hand that off to them next week and, some cash for them to, like I said, it's not going to change their life, but even if they can just, escape for a few days as a family and go do something, it would be great. And hopefully that will put them in a little bit of mood. But he's fighting, he's battling. I know my guy's going to beat it. He's a bad dude, so he's going to take care of it. Next year he'll be back good as new.
Well, I'm sure he'll be watching the stream on Saturday night, bro, rooting you on, man, and you'll have a lot to say. What if you get that hand raised? But I'm pretty confident that your skill set will get it done Saturday, my man. And kudos to your opponent there, being a cool guy. And, taking the fight against you for this cause.
Sure.
So it's all good. It's good around, man. We'll be there in full force as always, cheering you on from the media section there, bro. So it's going to be a good night. We're going to have fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thank Daquan too, because, you can't do this by yourself. So, and he's going to come in there and try and take my head off, and that's great, and that's wonderful. And if he wins, I'll shake his hand. If I win, I'll shake his hand, and then we'll go have some fun and raise some money for a good cause.
Excellent.